Chalnath dispatches. Blades in the dark.
Commander Shadowsun, military head of the Fifth Sphere expansion, protector of the Nemyer Atoll, is an island of calm in a storm of activity. The command decks of the Manta missile destroyer Unifying Hand bustle like a Balkan goods exchange on the day of giving. Contoured holomaps glow amidst the deck's cool blue illumination, projected from hovering strategic drones. Officers of the fire and air castes move between each depicted battlesphere, flowing around the strategic drones, just as the code of fire demands. The offers wear haptic gloves that allow them to interact with the holomaps, and strategic integration headsets whose semi-transparent eye lenses project streams of tactical and communications information to augment their fields of vision. Advisors of the earth and water castes move amongst them. They offer their own counsel in the name of the greater good. None are ever still for more than a moment. None, except Shadowsun. As patient as the hunter she has come to embody, Shadowsun stands at the heart of it all and sifts information. She wears gloves and a headset of her own. As the supreme commander of this battle for the world of Astagorius, she must be ready at a moment's notice to step in and provide input at any holomap. Yet, it is also her role to ride the tides of holistic strategic intelligence, swirling within the command decks, connecting her to the wider war for the Nemyer Atoll. Where her lieutenants see facets, she must view the entire picture, then apply all of her honed instincts as a warrior and a commander to ensure it develops to the benefit of the Talvar. A cloud of micro-drones orbits Shadowsun. It is via these small helpers, as much as through her headset's data flow and her observations of the holomaps, that she reads the shape of the many conflicts to which she must attend. The burden is immense. Shadowsun is determined to prove its equal, however. The Empire has invested so much in her, it is her duty to prove worthy of that investment, and the trust it implies with every waking moment of her existence. The greater good requires no less. Combat ebbs and flows before Shadowsun's eyes, rendered in glowing glyphs and three-dimensional topographical holomaps. Noting a building concentration of Gula, or human, forces around waypoint star rising 9 silver, she conveys concise strategic instructions to a microdrone, using haptic gestures. It speeds across the command deck to convey them. New glyphs spring into being upon the selected holomap as the display accepts her command authority, and AIs pass, then transmit her orders. Around the fringes of the battlesphere, several of her Firecast aides murmur their approval. More microdrones dart away from the swarm about Shadowsun's head to bear missives to officers at holobanks elsewhere on the Manta's command decks. Down upon the surface of Astagorius, a retreating column of Imperial tanks changes heading towards what seems to be a gap left in the encircling Tau forces. They have taken Shadowsun's bait. The apparent escape route will instead lead them into an ambush by 3 separate cadres, followed swiftly by their surrender or annihilation. Chasso, the matter remains before us. The voice belongs to a new Vesh, Her serene visage occupies one of the communication windows floating in Shadowsun's peripheral vision. Below it float others, Poro Bokandaj of the Watercast Diplomatic Resolution Cadre, Fio Elsier Joan of the Earthcast Martial Sciences Collective Initiative, and Willowy Koel Kotal Thayun, representing the Sept Naval Contingent. Practically my own elemental council, Shadowsun thinks, enjoying a glimmer of self-deprecating amusement at the scandalous and clearly ludicrous notion. You are correct, Honored Anne, said Shadowsun, forming the gesture of fire spreads. Though many matters occupy my attention, the issue of Volcus must rank highly among them.
Volcus, an ugly name,
observes Porodesh from his communication window, scornfully dragging out his intentional mispronunciation. An imperial name, replies Shadowsun. We will give it a new one, once the world is ours. But first we must pacify and civilize it, says Fiao Jolan. I am not a soldier, Chassot, but this seems to be no small matter. You are correct, agrees Shadowsun, thinking that Fiol's gift for understatement remains finely honed. The world of Volcus is central to the human defense of the entire Cassandra system. You have all studied the intelligence briefings on their weapon. Each of the assembled leaders offers some sound or gesture of confirmation. Shadowsun notes that Fioel Joan displays unseemly relish. For all its brutish nature, the technological secrets of the Gular superweapon must fascinate the Earthcast. Conventional colonization in force carries too high a risk if it remains operational, says Corel Theon, with an unapologetic rendering of the gesture of the elements tamed. Cortal Sept thrives, but it remains yet vulnerable to human and orc raiders. Our naval assets are fully committed to patrolling localized Sept space, but are still badly disrupted with astrotelemetric variables remaining so unpredictable. It would be reckless in the extreme to commit what core Vata assets we have in the face of such destructive power. Shadowsun offers the aircast officer a placating gesture. None here expects this of you, Corel. It would serve the Tau Va cruelly.
Regrettably, we are no nearer a diplomatic solution either,
says Porodesh, his tone expertly modulated to radiate regret, while making clear that his position in this matter is immovable.
What remote overtures we have offered have been summarily rejected, with a tediously predictable outpouring of primitive aggression. Though I wait for the humans upon
a mannered pause, a slight distasteful quirk of the mouth,
Volcus, who might prove more sympathetic to enlightenment. The simple truth is that their leaders are not intractable. I will not send envoys into the lairs of such as they. I will not cast away lives.
What of the Fio? Asks the serene Analvesh. Do our sciences offer us a solution to this challenge? Fioel Jolan looks momentarily stricken as the ethereal's full attention turns upon her, but she recovers herself with admirable swiftness. Her gesture is that of the war, half raised. The Martial Sciences Collective Initiative has generated several technological suggestions that would help Corvata vessels to evade the notice of the human superweapon within local Volcus space, at least for a time. However, it shames me to admit that they would likely fall short of what is needed to address the Corel's concerns. Anel Vesh's calm gaze turns to Shadowsun. And yet I sense these offerings will be sufficient for Shadowsun's needs. Will they not? They will, Honored Aun, said Shadowsun, unsurprised that the ethereal has already guessed something of her intentions. If we cannot use reason, and brute force will be met in kind and far exceeded, then we must instead employ cunning. Small elite forces embarked upon the lightest and swiftest vessels available, which must themselves be provisioned with expert crews. Their missions will be to slip onto the surface of Vulcus and launch a direct raid against the superweapon itself. To sabotage its operations, says Corelthian with approval. And perhaps to study its workings, said Fioalchuan, hopefully. With the blessings of the Honor Down, the raid will seek to achieve both of these aims, says Shadowsun. On this battlefield, the humans must be the patient hunters, and we the quarry drawn to the lure. Yet, the prey that knows its peril can itself become the predator. We will slip into their trap and disarm it from within. Who will you send to do this? Asked Porodaesh, sounding intrigued. The inspirational value of such a victory against the human superweapon will be great. It will strengthen the bonds of unity and determination throughout the Nemya Atoll. Not just amongst our own people, said Shadowsun. The presence of certain allies on this raid would increase its chances of success. I will issue full instructions by microdrones. Suffice to say, for now, that we Tau will strike a great blow against Vulcus, and that our honored auxiliaries will be the key to our success.